Hey Zach, I just thought I'd do a recording so that I can kind of walk you through some of the things that you're doing and see if we can't help you get through this program a little bit better. So I've copied your code from the website, from the discussion board, into my text editor. First thing I notice in here is on your on-click event on the button, you're calling compute future value. Now, the way it's supposed to work is you're supposed to call do FOV or do FV, and then from do FV you call compute future value, get the result, and then output it to the screen. Okay, so you're not supposed to call compute future value directly from the button. That happens from the do FV function. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change that. Okay. And then from do FV, you need to actually call your compute future value function. So we'll call it FV is equal to compute future value. Then we're going to pass in these variables that you just pulled out from your web input boxes. So we'll pass in the first one is supposed to be principal. Next one's supposed to be annual rate, years, and periods per year. Then it's going to return the answer to FV. And then FV is the one that we put out to the website. So actually I'm going to take your one right here, down in compute future value, and go ahead and move it up here. Instead of FV, we want this variable right here. Okay? So now you call this function right here, it gives you the answer, puts into the variable FV, and then FV is what we assign to the inner HTML of your output div. Okay? So, looking at this function, it looks, well, we have a couple of red squiggly lines under here. We would have found them later in the debugger, but this text editor kind of finds it for us too. So it looks like you're missing a couple parentheses at the very end of these lines. That makes that red line go away. That's good. Something else I noticed is your IDs don't necessarily match what's up here. So when I highlight it down here, it highlights it everywhere in the file so you can see that these are the same. Same with annual rate, so annual rate's fine. Numbers of year box, it's not being highlighted up here, so I think you've got a slight spelling error. So numbers of year box. So you've got number of years box. So it looks like you meant it to be like this. So now when we highlight it, see that highlights up here too. And then periods of year box, periods per year box is also okay. You forgot blocks up here. Sticking with your naming convention here. Okay. So now we know our IDs are coming out right. Okay. In your compute future value, looks like you redeclare your variables and assign them the values from the website. So instead of doing this right here, you want to just take whatever gets put into these variables up here. So these are actually variables that you can use up here in the declaration of your function. And you'll see up here where we call that function that this value is put into this position, which puts it into this variable. They're called the same thing. They actually don't have to be called the same thing. They can be called anything you want that makes sense. But because they're the same, that makes it easier to see which ones matches up with which one. So whatever's in this variable gets passed over here, which then assigns that value to this variable. They're different even though they're called the same because they're inside a different function. Same with annual rate, same with years, and same with periods per year. So because these variables are being populated outside in your other function, we don't need any of this. These variables are already declared. Okay? So then all we have is your formula. It looks like you just put in regular numbers, and you need to be using these variables so that it'll work with no matter what numbers are put into these variables. So let me go review real quick what the hard assignment said. That's not it. Let's see what I have right here. What the hard assignment said was the formula. I don't remember off the top of my head. So go over here, week 11, under assignments. So it looks like this here is your formula. So I'm just going to go ahead and put it in a comment so you don't have to keep looking back and forth. And it also says in the assignment that A is your principal, R is your rate per period. That means you have to divide it, take your annual rate and divide it by the number of periods per year, and then the total number of periods. So if you have 10 years and you have 4 periods per year, you need to multiply 10 times 40, or 10 times 4 and get 40 in order to get that. So let's put that into the formula here. So RC, and I'll just do it on the top of this one. So the first is your principal. That's easy enough. And then you multiply it by 1 plus your rate. Annual rate divided by per periods per year. Okay? And then we're supposed to take, that is supposed to be taken to the power. And taking it to the total number of periods. So that's periods per year times the number of years. So years times periods per year. Okay, okay. Alright, put this right here. Okay, so this takes, using these variables, computes the formula and returns it, assigns it to the CFE variable, and returns that variable. So this then comes outside of where you're calling this function and puts it into this variable. And then it outputs it right there. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and save this on the desktop. Maybe you can do response. Close that one. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and open it in Chrome. Get that open. Okay, so if we're following the example here, just so we know if we get it right or not. So 100 The rate was 0.07. And the years was 10, period per year is 4. So if everything goes right, the answer should be 200.16. Okay, we got it right. Why don't you see why it works? So let's go into the dev tools. There we go. There's a lot of stuff here. It's not helpful. Okay. Let's open this up so you can see what's going on. Okay, there we go. Alright, we're going to put a breakpoint right here in DFV. So I just click right over here. So, I'm going to click on this. We start with a breakpoint. Click on this button. So we know the first years is 10. That's what we want to see. Principals. The order per space is 100. That's good. Annual rate is 0.07. And periods per year, if I don't have enough screen space, is 4. Okay. So now, it's going to go into this future value function. This pretty big one. We're just going to make sure it stops here. Okay. So now it's going to go, so right into this function, comes here, it calculates it. You can see right here that principal is 100. That's what is assigned to that variable. Annual rate is 0.07. Years is 10, periods per year is 4, if you can see it. So that's what we like to see. So it's going to go through and calculate it out to 200.159. Then it's going to return that value. Okay. So now FV is equal to that 200.159, all that stuff. And then you set the inner HTML to FFV. Just like that. And then you get the animation. There it is, assign it to that PDF. Okay. Cool. So that's how you do this one. I'm going to have to stop here. I'll make another video for your second program because I have a 15-minute limit on this. And it's going to, we're at 13 minutes. So I'm going to stop here, make a second video for your software. So.